Thank you, Lascan Corla. Minister, I'd like to take the opportunity to wish you all the very best in your new portfolio, and I have no doubt that, like any woman, you'll make an impact. Minister, there's 13% of Irish people living with disability, and when we talk about disability, we must include all of those who are suffering from a disability, be it mental or physical, profound or otherwise. Disabled citizens have constitutional rights just like the rest of us, but in order for them to adequately or at all exercise or benefit from these rights, they need supports. They have a right to equality, but equal treatment does not give true equality to disabled citizens. We need to move more to Aristotle's version of equality, which does not mean treating all citizens the same, as that only gives uniformity. We must give our disabled citizens, as best we can, the supports which puts them, insofar as we can, on the same level or the same playing field as those not suffering from a disability. It is accepted that this comes with a financial cost to the state, but what about the cost borne by these disabled citizens and their families, who without fail go above and beyond to give their disabled children and siblings the best possible chance of coping with their disability on a day-to-day living basis? However, they need state support, and they have a right to this. Cost or not, these disabled citizens have a right to the supports which appears are being systemically removed, sometimes with the COVID emergency cited as the reason. But this is not acceptable. The state has obligations towards its disabled citizens, not least flowing from the Constitution, but also from European and international human rights treaties. In April of 2018, Ireland ratified the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disability, and under that treaty, Ireland has a duty. It's our duty, and it's this government's duty, to advance and implement the Convention's provisions, which include empowering the person with disability to live self-directed lives of their own choosing. Basic civil and political rights for all are guaranteed under the Constitution. And during the current COVID emergency, these disabled citizens require more support, not less. Let me tell you a little story about someone who called me in floods of tears at 11 o'clock last night. Now, the details of the story I have supplied to your department this morning, Minister, and with respect to the lady's family, I leave the names out. But I was contacted, as I said, by a sibling who was in floods of tears. Her sister attends a special needs facility in Dublin. She has severe cerebral palsy, is a wheelchair-bound user and requires 24-hour care. She's non-verbal and requires assistance with all aspects of life, feeding, eating and all needs. Her parents are her full-time carers in their 70s. And before COVID-19, she attended a facility, a large adapted house in Dublin, that had 7 other residents with similar needs. She was attending there 5 days a week from 9 until 3, with respite until 7 p.m. on Wednesday and Thursday, and every so often she was offered weekend respite. Then the service was completely shut down in March, and it didn't resume until 6 months later, some 2 weeks ago. She's now attending 2 days a week and moving to 3 days from September the 15th. But following a recent meeting with the CEO of the facility, which only took place last Tuesday, her parents were told the following. 1, that her full-time service will not be resuming. She will only be offered 3 days a week for the foreseeable future. 2, that there will be transport for 1 day a week only, and that there will be no respite offered, whether it be at weekends or late evenings. Now, this is extremely difficult for them as a family to accept. Their aim is to give the best quality of life, which I think they have achieved over the years, but particularly that they are in their 70s. You know, Minister, this family is actually saving the state a lot of money, and they are not being given any credit for doing so. They are being informed that the reason for the cut in services is mostly due to social distancing, What makes no sense at all is that the facility had 7 residents, day residents. It has been reduced to 4, all wheelchair-bound users unable to leave their wheelchair unassisted. Whilst they have reduced the day residents to 4, they have doubled the staff numbers. I just don't understand it, Minister, and what I would argue, surely we are speaking about the most vulnerable in our society, that a different approach should be taken. Surely their care should be a priority for the HSE and our government. Schools have reopened, matches are being played, shopping centres are open, and draft guidelines now for the pubs are ready to go, but the most vulnerable people in our society are being left behind. This government may well be accused of being in breach of an international treaty in the nature of the UN rights of the disability, and I'm afraid it affects the most vulnerable in our society if we allow this situation to remain unchanged. I hope that you can come back to me on the matter as soon as possible. Equally relevant is the fact that in New Ross, County Wexford, and I have been in touch with you about this also, a service provider, Cummins, have informed all of their 104 service users there's no transport being provided for them as users for the future. So, Minister, I've heard everybody has the same issue here today, and what I would ask in respect that the department would come up or would at least have a conversation about the possibility of using a rural link service or coming up with a road plan, a roadmap for that issue, because it would appear to be an issue all over the country. And I would like to invite you to New Ross at the earliest opportunity when you're available to see the facilities and meet both service users and providers. Thank you, Minister.
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Deputy.